Hello and welcome to the Purple Sector's F1 podcast, post US Grand Prix edition. My name is Kunal Shete, and joining me on the podcast, as always, is unbiased fan and the voice of reason on the Purple Sectors, Shashank Shete, and completely biased fan and the undercut queen, Pooja Reddy. Welcome to the podcast, guys. How are you all doing?
Hi guys.
How are you all feeling?
Guys, first off,
We are
happy
celebrating
Dasara,
Dasara.
everyone.
Yeah. Happy Dashara to all our Indian viewers.
Yeah, to our Indian viewers
Yes.
and new
And the
viewers.
non-Indian ones also. You
Of
can
course,
you
of
can
course.
go look up.
Whoever
what
is celebrating
Dasara
good
is.
over evil, happy Dasara.
Correct. That's a
Well
very
said,
good
well
start
said.
to.
Yeah,
That's
very
a
well
very
said.
good
Yes.
call. That's going to be a running theme in our podcast this episode. The win of good over evil. So we will get into that shortly. So let's just get firstly into the debrief of this race. Like I said, it should be based around a win of good over evil, which is not necessarily happening in F1 at the moment. But we will come to that anyways. So the first thing I think is something that we need to talk about is great quali crap sprint. Did you all
Agreed.
see the quali? And did you all see the sprint? The sprint was shit. It was absolute shit. It was so bad. It was the
Saw
complete
that.
opposite of the Qatar sprint. Qatar sprint was the best sprint I've seen. This is the worst sprint I've seen.
Yeah,
was-
but Quali was good. It was close again.
Quali was
and
super
obviously it was good because this one took the pole and it was...
Yeah, and Max also track limits ke saath he went off to 6th. So it
Yeah.
was a good moment.
Good over
Classic poor communication strategy from the Ferrari guys. They're telling Charles that there's been an
Yeah.
infringement on track limits without telling him that it's not him.
Correct.
And this
yeah.
kind of continued throughout the race weekend, as we will dive into further on the other
It's
points.
been a while, no, since poor strategy can't always get it right every single
Back to basics for Ferrari. Yeah, we had
Yeah.
it too nice for the last few races with slick pit stops, excellent strategies, all of that. They threw out of the window saying we got to go back to basics this time. But it actually worked out for Carlos again, something that we can get back in slightly later. But yeah, I think the qualies. I mean, all the qualies,
the
to be
qualies,
honest, have
yeah,
been
yeah.
more or less great. All qualies throughout the season. This season has been about the qualies rather than the races.
Yeah.
The qualies have been close. Ferrari's come with. I think if there was a championship for qualifying points, we would be, I mean, not ahead, but probably on par with Red Bull, because actually no, we'll be ahead of Red Bull because quali and race doesn't matter. Perez is shit all the
Because
time.
Perez, who doesn't Quali half the
Correct.
time.
Also,
Correct,
there was
correct.
a stat that came out, I think sometime back, where I think Charles is just nine thing number of poles that he has is 9 less than Verstappen. But
Yes.
the number of wins that Verstappen has is 50 compared to
Yeah, he
Charles.
has
That is
Six.
barely anything. Yes, correct. It's a single-digit figure.
Yeah, I think he's 1 or 2 away from Fernando Alonso's pole record. So it's a testament to how good he is on a qualifying leg and how shitty it gets in the race. I don't think that. I mean, that's not fully
Also,
down
there's
to Charles. He
something
made a couple of
getting the
mistakes,
credit.
but
I
yeah.
mean, it's also the
Also-
car, right? They've been
Of
comparing.
course, it's the
Yeah.
car. It's the car. It's the strategy. It's
On pace, like on maybe one one lap pace, the cars are
very
quite
even.
more or less equal.
not
yeah.
only the Ferrari but also maybe some other cars. But then when it comes to race pace and tire management, I
Yeah.
think Red Bull, I think just Max is way ahead.
Yeah, it's all about Max. I don't even see it just as a
Yeah,
Red
it
Bull
doesn't
thing
matter
anymore.
for it.
I
No,
think it has to be the combination of the two, which is something which is to be appreciated, that the guy can really get anything out of that car. It's obviously aligned to what his requirements are, but he just gets 110% out of that car.
I know, no matter
Right.
what is up with the car, even if there's something up with it, he'd
Yeah,
still...
there was some issues this time.
Yeah,
there
he
was
had
some
some
brake
issue
issues.
also this time. Yes, so he knows
But
that.
he's an
and,
absolute yeller, this guy. Every time he just what the fuck, this, that, this is
Who?
shit,
Who,
don't talk
Max?
to me. Yeah, he just yells and yells and yells, and I don't know how. I mean,
He gets it a
there are
lot.
these
There's only
So
one
like
guy
that,
worse. I think Yuki is the only guy who's worse than Max on the radio
yeah, and
with the number of
Yuki can't get
experience
away
and
with it.
commodities.
Unlike Max can still get away with it because he's winning. Yuki can't get away with this idiot guy.
Yuki,
But you
I
should
think
see this
it was sprint qualifying, and Yuki, I think, did not make it to the line to start his
line.
qualifying lap.
Yeah, yeah.
So the radio message that came was just a whole bleep, bleep,
Yeah,
bleep,
bunch of
bleep. That's it.
beep, 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 beep,
There
beep.
weren't any words between the bleeps.
What
Crazy
a
guy.
clown! What a clown!
But I'm happy for him. He scored.
Yeah.
He scored points
going
in the
to-
race and
Can you
also
happy
got
for
the
your,
fastest lap.
Your this one.
Yeah, which is one of the points we might as well take it up right now. Yuki Tsunoda fastest lap. It was damn good to see. I really like it. It was a feel good moment for me when Yuki went for that fastest lap on the last lap, and he was getting purple sectors and standard.
And you know who had it before him? No, I think Danny Rick had it before him.
Did he? I don't know. I'm
I
sure
think
Max
Danny
didn't
Rick
have
had
it this
before
time.
him.
Yeah.
Max didn't have it. Danny Rick had it before him, and then they called Yuki that you
Mhm.
come in for a set of new tires because you have the time, and then
Yeah.
he took it from Danny Rick.
Yeah. So,
Something
but
to be
Tsunoda was absolutely gunning for it at the end. It was good to see. The guys on comms were saying, did he go? Track limits. Sure, the lap's going to stand, but I'm glad it stood. And it was it was points for fastest lap. Plus, generally, one of the things that I want to talk about is this was a free points for all race. You had obviously we get into the disqualification. So you had two guys disqualified. You had Aston, you had Fernando Alonso who retired from the race. You had Piastri who retired from the race. So you had four guys who were generally going to take a chunk of the points, out of the points. So that was, it was a free points for all, and a lot of people got points, including
That's what
our
Shashu's
best friend
favorite.
Logi.
Alpines.
Logi there.
I think both the Alpines also got
Yeah,
points.
Logi got.
Ocon, Gasly.
No. Ocon retired. No, Ocon had
Oh, he retired.
Ocon had another.
Yes. But again,
He had a
another
clash
friend
with. So Piastri went into his side pod. Yeah.
another friend of ours also got points. Lance Stroll.
Yeah, man. Lance Stroll got points. It was a shocking experience to see.
You seem
Happy
very
days.
How did
excited
he
about
get
it.
points? So that's what that's rare. That's what it was. Points for all. It was free points for all because four people cocked up with. I mean, their cars gave up. I mean, two guys disqualified, two cars went out, and then a lot of strategies by the bigger teams all cocked up. And for Haas, I mean, this was a great chance for Haas with their updates to come and bring points for themselves and and also for me on my quest to come close to Pooja's thing, but they failed miserably again. They didn't do shit. It was a sad moment. Yeah, but yeah, Lance in the points was very, very surprising. I don't know where he came from. They started from the pit lane, and somehow after the qualifying, though I was fully laughing about it. We had put out a nice meme video also on our Instagram channel. Lance clapping Alonso to the back of the grid, saying, "Welcome to welcome to my life. This is where I, this is where I am. This is how I roll." But yeah, they salvaged that weekend, especially obviously.
Yeah,
with Lance.
both of them were
Some
running in the points, which is surprising.
good
But the one
job
time
from
that
Aston.
Lance, but the one time that Lance scored, Alonso didn't score, and there went my undercut points. Unfortunately.
Okay, you have 4 more races.
Coming to the Pooja, you're going to win, 100%. Already, we haven't still gone into the section where we will.
Like Max in the leaderboard currently when it comes to undercut.
Absolutely, you're well ahead. But yeah, that.
You guys can fight.
But this was like this race. Absolutely, this race like was the way you were giving points, saying take. Like that only it was take. Like everyone got points. Like to be lele, you
Yeah.
also have, you short of points, you take some points. It was that kind of race. But just coming to the race itself, it was actually a very tactical and very intriguing race in the front. And I think Mercedes, especially with Hamilton, even though he got disqualified later, it was a
Yeah.
missed opportunity. They should have either mirrored this guy's strategy or tried something different.
Yeah.
They did all kinds of idiotic calls on the pit wall where they just completely, screwed any chance of this guy, getting past. I think on pace he could have gotten past Max, and
Plus,
if he
if he
had
had,
track position, he would have for sure. He would have, stayed in front. Yeah, Pooja, you're saying?
I'm saying, plus if he had a few more laps and if he had pitted a little bit earlier, he might have been in contention with Max, no? Since he was suffering from the brake issues anyway.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
He had the brake
luckily
issue.
because
So
Max
this
is
was
suffering with the brake issue, I think
Like, if it
maybe he
was
had a
the-
chance to even get past.
Yeah, if there was any other race where you had a chance to kind of beat Max, provided your strategy was on point, it could have been this one maybe after Singapore.
Yeah,
but
because he was quicker and
Yes.
also Max had the issues. So I think, with both
That's
of
what.
these things being there, I think maybe this was the best chance that Lewis had.
Yeah.
Yeah, Max seemed flustered a little bit in the cockpit because of the problem, and I think he knew that the pace was not as far as they usually have it over the others in the main race. You would think it was going to be a cakewalk if you look back at the sprint, because he just completely drive into the distance. So I heard another few people, commentators and all, saying that perhaps the other teams felt like it's going to be that hard, so they went super defensive with their strategies, and they didn't have a plan to counter this guy, saying that we could come close, all we have to do is be super smooth and correct with our strategy calls. And Max also had a slow pit stop in all of this, so this was far from being a perfect Red Bull day where Max just raced into the distance and they were super slick on everything. There were opportunities, and
yes,
unfortunately, the opportunities.
That's what happens. I think that's what happens when you're dominating by such a big margin, because the other teams kind of don't look at the aggressive option. They go safe. So I think that's what Mercs and McLarens were doing, where they weren't taking the more aggressive or the more unsafe option, and they just wanted to probably cover off Max, and they were
second and third.
They were in hindsight. Yeah, they were but they were in. I think they were just okay with we are okay with being 2 and 3, and if we can challenge Max for the win, then okay, we'll take it as a bonus.
Then
but
great.
they were
Added
okay with
bonus.
added bonus. But then we're okay with being 2 and 3. So that's why the strategies were, I think, more skewed towards being safe.
The season only been like that, though. That's what I mean. Since this guy established his lead long ago.
Yeah, I think the people have just shied away from really trying anything different, because they go into the Grand Prix saying that it's impossible. It's literally impossible. The only time it seemed possible, and when and it actually happened, was in Singapore, where Ferrari did really well tactically, and especially Carlos, not so much Ferrari. So I think this was an absolute opportunity lost to have one more win and get one over Red Bull. Having said that, I think let's just quickly touch upon Max's 50th win, and also the fact that he got booed, not for the 50th time, but yeah, it's going to happen again. So yeah, I think we've not analyzed, but we've briefly talked about the 50th win as being one of his more difficult wins. I think it wasn't as plain and simple with the issues with the car and not having such a huge pace advantage. But all the same, he did it. Yeah, I mean, he didn't make a mistake.
So what he does it.
He made the moves, those again late braking maneuvers which somehow stuck. He on Lando and on Charles, both those moves at the end of the back straight were from quite far behind, and he somehow got the car to stop. Um but again, I think he's just judging it to perfection. So yeah, it's almost like with one shoulders dropping types. It's he still got it done. So I'm just because I look at it optimistically, saying that he's not going to have such a big pace out advantage forever. He'll still probably have the best car next season, but he's
Yeah.
not going to have such a big pace advantage. So what are the other guys going to do when he doesn't have such a big pace advantage? When he has issues, can someone take it by the scruff of the neck and say we're going to challenge this guy and really put pressure on that pit wall also at Red Bull to say that we coming for you, or we doing something different. Ferrari did it in one different way. No, or they put Charles on a one pit stop strategy, saying
Yeah.
you suffer. I don't know what he did wrong that he told you suffer for the second half of the race, and then we again got a return of Plan D, E,
Mm.
F, where again Charles
Absolutely.
said, what is wrong with you all? You're saying plan C or D, whatever it was, which is I think then to say, okay, come now, take a stop and put soft
But
tires
that's
on.
what I
Should
wanted
have,
to ask. Could they have gone back to a two-stop strategy, or they were so far
yeah, they should
along
have
committed
switched
to
at
the
40,
they could have
41 laps. They
switched,
should have
no?
switched.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough
Yeah,
that you wanted to do a one-stop
if they
strategy,
had to
but
switch,
looking
they had
at
to
what
switch on. Take that decision and say we're sticking.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you're looking at what's happening with your car, and also you're looking at what's happening with the other drivers' cars and their tire deck,
Correct.
and how everybody literally shifted to a two-stop. So I think they could have still shifted towards two-stop strategy for Charles.
But lot of in the sense from the front runners, like most of the commentators were convinced that Lando and Lewis were going on to a one pit stop as soon as, because
Correct.
Max triggered the second set of stops.
Mhm.
So a lot of people said, okay, maybe one stop, and then just everyone, or maybe it was they saw the data and they said it's just not going to work, so we have to cut our losses and go in for that second stop, which Ferrari obviously didn't do.
Yeah.
But Ferrari got it absolutely right with Carlos. They pitted him at the right time, got him out of traffic, made sure that he was always in a clean space, and obviously Carlos also drove a excellent race. And with the penalties, he got a podium. Pooja,
Yeah.
you had some analysis of this, no, saying whenever Carlos gets a
Really
podium,
analysis, but I feel like
some,
every time he's been getting a podium or he's finishing in the top 5, his girlfriend is there in the paddock.
oh,
Really lucky.
so the lucky
But the
charm.
same thing doesn't apply for Charles again. Even though his girlfriend is there.
Charles, yeah, I don't know. He's got a lot of bad luck,
So,
and
it was his birthday also. You would think
yeah, poor
after
guy.
that sprint,
Yeah.
he would, whatever, it would only get better from there. But
Yeah, it could only get better, but it got so much worse. Which so it's again a good segue, I think, to talk about the post-race penalties. So
yeah,
from what I understand, only 4 people were checked. So it's a fully
correct.
random checking, and for
Yeah.
this time around, they checked basically, Charles, Hamilton, Lando, and Max.
The
And
top 4.
if 2 out of 4, no, they didn't check Carlos. No, this guy finished 6th, so it's 6th.
Oh shit, yeah.
Charles was 6th. No, so 1, 2, 3, and 6. See, that also,
Correct.
it's not even sequence. You think 1, 2, 3, 4, but no, it's 1, 2, 3, and 6.
But I think because they wanted to check a different team, like all from a different team. 1, 2, 3, 4 would have been 2
Perhaps.
Ferrari.
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah, I think they wouldn't check if they're checking 4 cars. Then
They
I
didn't do
don't think
Perez
they'll check
also
two
because they were
from-
already checking Max. So that's why
Correct. So I
number
don't think
6
they're
was
two
correct.
from the same team.
Correct.
Correct.
But yeah, out of a random check, if you had 2 out of 4 failing, I'm pretty sure that I've checked most of the paddock. It would have been 5, 6 drivers at least with penalties, because it's
But then
again.
how is that fair that you're going to check only 4 out of the
Yeah, it
20
is not
drivers?
fair, but that's
How
what
is
they
that
came up with. The
fair? If you
Also,
want
the
to check
people
like
ask
how you check
this-
the weight, you check
Yeah.
everybody's
You
weight.
check
right,
for
at the end
everyone.
of the-
Yeah,
you check
yeah.
everybody's weight at the end of the race. It's not like you just randomly check 4
I
people.
think that's what everyone was complaining about, right? That like, why did it have to be only these 4?
Yeah, it was the luck of the draw. It was the
Yes.
luck of the draw, and yeah, 2 people failed, 2 people passed.
Exactly.
They did. I mean, when the FIA was asked this question, they said we just don't have enough time between races, and because you have to just close this out, and now this is a back-to-back weekend. Now
So
next
then
weekend
just
is
don't
again,
do
so
it then. If you don't have the
yeah, then
time, the
don't do it.
resources, then
Yeah,
don't do it. If you want to do it, then
it's
do
yeah,
it
it's incorrect.
impartially to everybody.
Then you should do it for all. Yeah, you should do it for all, and then because I'm like I said, I'm sure a lot of more people. I don't know how many, but I'm sure at least two more drivers would have failed this test, because the reasoning given by so Ferrari put out not a press statement, but actually on the social media they had their technical guy come and give an analysis of what were the regulations and what happened. And because it was a sprint weekend, your parc ferme's regulations, basically your setup at the end of Friday becomes your setup, so which again sometimes screws your race completely in terms of your tire deck, because you don't have enough information. And because of the bumpy nature of the track, because that there was heavy wind, so the cars were obviously hitting the curbs a little bit more, and the track itself is so bumpy, so that plank, obviously it's very small margins, but that's Formula One. But yeah, it was maybe half a millimeter too small, and both of them got thrown out, which to be as a non-Hamilton fan, I have to say the guy drove amazingly well on that race. He was too good. He was excellent, and he definitely deserved his seat on the podium. So P2 was way robbed from, because Queen George was nowhere. Like, he was very, very far from Hamilton. All weekend he was somewhere else only.
But he finished what?
He finished seventh, and then he
Seventh, and then he
finished
came to
fifth.
fifth.
Came to fifth. Yeah, so he
got
but
he
the
got
only
some free points. Again, Perez got free
free
points
ka
for
muffal
literally,
points.
for literally
Useless.
doing
He was
nothing.
horrible. Nothing he did all race. He was just doing time pass. He couldn't get past anyone. He was well off the pace.
So bad on the brakes,
So
and even
bad on the
stewards
brakes.
were stewards didn't want to get close to his car, so they didn't go to check his car.
He was complaining also a lot about, like, instead of trying some kind of move on George, because George didn't even have the pace, he's complaining about he's going past track limits 3 times I saw, 4 times.
Reporting
That only is doing correct Pujams. Instead of concentrating on his own performance and giving it all these, this fellow is doing that guy
But
is
it's
doing
sad that nobody really cares about it in Red Bull
Nobody
also,
paid
because
attention
he's
also.
giving his
No
report,
one
but
pays it, correct.
there's no response from the other side. It's like, okay, yeah, whatever it is. I think you should get on with your race, and we'll get on with whatever we're doing here. I think
they didn't.
I think he's gone for the next season. I
think he's gone. I think it's just they don't. They didn't react, or like you said, they weren't really. It's almost like I just don't want to say anything at this point in time. Let's just go through. Next is Mexico, so they want to ruffle feathers in this race for sure. Let's get done with Mexico, and then we'll take a call. I think the call has already been taken
a call, and it's this no response is happening for the last 2-3 races. Right?
2-3 races,
yeah. He's trying and giving them some feedback, also giving them some not very great reasons about why he's making the mistakes, but nobody really cares now. So I guess
he doesn't get a G up.
The decision is already made.
Yeah. Even I think it's behind closed doors. The decision has been made. It's just a question of when. Yeah, it's just a question of when, not if. But they still have a problem in the sense, who they get rid of Perez, who are they going to bring in? Because Danny Rick again was 15th. He had a very anonymous kind of race. Obviously, he was one of the other legends who were on a one pit stop. So that could possibly be the reason. But it's going to be tricky to just push Daniel into the street, because he's been off color for quite some time now. So if it's purely a marketing decision, then it's 100%. It makes a lot of sense to bring in Danny Rick, because he's just got a huge fan following. But from a race perspective, assuming that the Mercs are going to be closer, obviously the McLarens are 100% going to be closer, and
Ferrari
I hope
also will be closer.
Yeah, Ferrari. The only thing is they've known that the car's been struggling on tires since the start. I mean, we've seen progress in terms of multiple aspects, that they're a little better here and there, but their Achilles heel of being absolute shit on tires is still there. So I hope that's the thing that they address, or they'll say no, because there's sometimes there's a lot of ego, no, whether it's with engineers or because the concept itself, again, news outlets from Italy, some of these auto sport guys and all of them saying that they're 100% certain now that TD39 directive which came out. Initially they said they could work around the directive to keep the ride height a little higher and the aero efficiency and all of that will still work. But they've just not been able to make it work. I mean that thing changed it all, and then since then they've not figured out a fix. So I think they're going to just get rid of this concept and everyone's going to obviously move towards the Red Bull concept. McLaren's already gone there. Mercedes from zero pod became pods which are similar to the
So I
Red
think
Bull.
even if
So
a team like Mercedes got rid of their ego and
yeah, they got
moved to a completely
So
different concept, I think it's time Ferrari does it,
Yeah,
or
I
maybe
think
they've
it's
already
time.
done it.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they've done it. We cannot see, not
even
we, at least Pujams and me
me
cannot
as
see
an
the same
no,
thing
but even
moving.
me as an unbiased fan would say that
Bah,
I'm hoping they do it because it's always good to have more people who are running at the
capable
top.
of winning. Yeah,
Yes.
because I'm sure it's going to be if Perez is there next season, and even if the Mercedes, the McLaren and Ferrari are all even half a tenth closer, as opposed to being half a second behind in race pace, then they can definitely get Red Bull. Whether they can get Max or no is a different thing. We can get Red Bull for sure because Perez is not going to bring,
I
because
don't think
Perez
they
also
need
for
Red
him
Bull,
to.
yeah. But they're getting Red Bull even now. If you're talking about getting Perez, they're getting Perez
Hmm.
even now. So they don't even
No,
have to
but
gain anything to get Perez.
they'll be closer to Max for sure. This vast difference may not be there.
Yes, that I agree that they'll
Everyone's
definitely be
facing
closer
the
to
main
Max.
issue
They'll be
is
closer.
So Sergio Perez's seat basically depends on what Danny Rick does, and
but
he's going to survive or he's going to be retained only for the fact that there is nobody else there who's there to probably replace him next year.
but
Yeah, if Perez stays in his seat, it's going to be because there's no one there.
Yes, because there's no one there. Exactly.
Danny Rick also stays where he is because he's just not shown enough. He obviously had the
but
injury, so he really couldn't showcase because it's it's a
However
trick.
much
Yeah.
I don't know. I like Danny Rick. He's definitely marketable, but I feel like he's past his best. I don't know. I just get the impression.
No, I agree. He's past his best. I think his best shot was to stick around when Max was there and say I'm going to take him on.
Yeah.
Then
So
he
now
was
if
also reasonably good at Renault. But then
but when he came
McLaren
to
obviously it's
McLaren, I
well
think it just went
documented.
off a
Yeah,
cliff. Yeah, it just went off a
he
cliff. And
was really off. Interestingly, one of the reasons for why his McLaren stint was so bad and why it's apparently quite hard to adapt to the McLaren car, as hard as it is to adapt to the Red Bull car, is the basic way you drive these cars, because your driving style, for example, you hit, if you're a smooth driver who hits, so it's a U, so if you hit the apex as a U, go in smooth, get out smooth, while the McLaren is one that you have to go in hard brake 90 degrees into the apex and bounce out. So that whole style is so different, and that car only reacts to those kind of inputs. So Danny Rick is supposedly one of those guys, technical guy, very smooth. So it's all, very smooth driving style, get in, get out. So apparently that's one of the reasons why he was not able to adapt at all. Of course,
but
the
then
great drivers
I
adapt.
would say I would say that somebody like a Piastri who's a rookie adapted to a McLaren
But he
fairly
has no
quickly.
reference point, no, of previous F1 cars.
whereas Danny
Yeah,
Rick has
I
been in
guess
Red Bull, he's given the
that
Renault.
was his first.
It's like Sashu, how you have baggage, no, on relationships like that only.
Oh,
This guy
yeah.
has no baggage over Oscar Piastri.
Nothing fresh.
Now I get it.
So the older you get, the more baggage you have. Your experience should count. Oh, I have experience. That's good. That's experience is always good. But sometimes the experience also works against you because
Yeah, I think there's a
it
sweet
all
spot
adds up.
between the experience and the youth. I think
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
if you're
It, it,
if
it.
you're if you're the wrong side of 35 in racing terms, then I think
Yeah,
maybe your experience is going to tell you that you have to be a little more paranoid than you should be. But that
my
is where
God.
I think Alonso has done really well.
Yeah, that fellow is unique. He's cut from a different cloth. I like
We
how
know.
you said on this side of 35 racing wise. Yeah, Pujans.
Did Alonso drive for McLaren? He did, right?
He
So
did.
Yes, he's driven for McLaren. So Renault, McLaren, then Ferrari,
he's an adaptable
back to Renault. No, not back to Renault. Back to, yeah, Renault.
Alpine, Aston
Renault
Martin.
say he went. Yeah, Alpine he's done. Before Ferrari, he was at McLaren Mercedes. Yeah, McLaren Mercedes. He's done two stints at McLaren. McLaren to
And it
Ferrari,
was
Ferrari
McLaren, and
back to
McLaren was
McLaren,
using the
So he's
McLaren
an
Honda, I
adaptable
think,
driver.
Honda.
after. So,
For
yes.
Yeah,
whatever.
he's very adaptable. So he's also mentioned that each of these cars I had to adapt my driving style. So it's not one size fits all. So he's Fernando
But
Alonso,
that's
so he can
also
do it.
where
But
I
I think
think
it's
driver skill comes in and talent comes in because Alonso, yeah, he adapted to all of these.
generational talent. Absolutely. So
Yes,
he's
yeah,
he's
once in a
figured it out.
lifetime Alonso.
He's figured it out. But yeah, shoot, I like how you said on this side of 35 from a driving standpoint. I think it kind of, it works even in real life on this side of
Oh, I
35.
have absolutely no doubt.
How would you know? But you're only 23 or 24, or I don't know what your age
I,
is.
I speak from what I've heard from friends, my friends and
From looking
close
into the
colleagues.
future history of
Yes.
Before we get into this very difficult chat around age, let's just have a the special shout out section. I had both Williams in the points, which was great, and as much as I think Logan is an absolute clown, I think it's nice to see the guy in the points. I think he's a good guy, and he's not a douche at least, so that's good. Ocon has
Especially after
contact.
what happened in Qatar, where he had to retire the
Yeah,
car
poor
because
guy.
of illness. I feel
Yeah.
good that he's gotten these points.
Correct. Ocon has contact again, so he's the one who got caught up with Piastri
Yeah.
in the first lap. Pure racing incident. Unfortunately, it's Ocon again. But yeah, he really couldn't do anything. But yeah, I think there was a chance of both Alpines being in the points. And given that this was a race for points, 3 points for all, I think it was an opportunity lost because they'd want to go a little higher up in the points table. And also a special shout out at Put Down. Solid Science does it again. Yeah, he was not spectacular, but he was so he no mistakes, steady, did everything right, didn't get involved in anything, and then finally he's got a P3 from a car which was, I think, far from being on the podium in the main race. And Ferrari as such come up with 2 podiums, obviously one for the sprint for Charles and one for the race itself. And at a track where they definitely had a disadvantage to Mercedes, they've actually clawed back some of the points to P2. So that championship is still definitely on. And at the same time, which was expected, was McLaren go ahead of Aston Martin. So that I think McLaren will not be able to come to Ferrari or Mercedes. I think it's a bit too much for them. So I think P4 is their max. But it will be really good if, obviously as a Ferrari fan, that if Ferrari can get P2, I think that will be something coming from where they were right at the beginning in terms of the race pace being so bad that they were dropping like a stone. So I think that will be an interesting championship and something worth watching for as we go along into the final 4 races, starting with Mexico next weekend, where where I have a very interesting undercut to share with you all. But yeah, I think, huh?
No rhymes this time around Checo and Mexico.
No rhymes. I also don't want to piss off anyone before Mexico. After Mexico, I'll be rhyming every weekend. Through the week also, I'll send rhymes. So yeah, I think those were the special shout outs. Let's go into our 3-word race reviews. Starting with Shashu today, let's not do Pooja. He always says that Pooja gets like some really cool one out, and then I feel very, very these things. I'm going to shake it up a little. Shashi, what is your 3-word race review?
So my 3-word race review this time also is 4 words, and
See
it is it.
Okay, go for it.
Listen, guys, it's small words, so yeah, I think you can forgive me for that.
Small.
Yeah, please go ahead then.
Yeah,
Small.
my 4-word race review is it can be done. And by this,
Yeah.
I mean that I feel like Max can be beaten now. Whatever insane advantage that he and Red Bull had in the beginning, I think the other teams have clawed it back, and I don't know. I feel like it's not far from where somebody else takes a proper win from Max, not only in the sprint but also in a proper Grand Prix. And my other reason for this 4-word race review is to do with the America track, because I think it's a new track, but they've somehow managed to give it some character of its own. And I think from the previous Grand Prix, which is the Qatar Grand Prix, where it was a new track and a lot of people said that, new tracks do not have character. I think we should look at America and say that it can be done. You can have a new track with all the safety, but still give it some character and have decent racing and overtaking opportunities, but at the same time not making it so easy where the DRS is super powerful.
Wow, Sashu, you have learned from Pooja. I also have to learn.
Those are my 2 reasons for my 4-word.
This is like Nike, just do it.
Very good, Pooja.
Quota, it can be done.
Pooja.
Taking a thing from Nike also.
Correct, but
going to advertise.
Yeah, learned from Pooja. Mine will still suck, my 3-word race review, but yeah, good. Sashu, 4 words. Yet again,
small words.
I will officially be sending. No, I'll be sending the affidavit on email today. Please sign off on that, on the rules of this thing. Just scan it and send it. You'll be liable.
I have a question. Can I ask?
What is the question?
The question is, I'm not getting any points on my undercut. Since you've appreciated my 3-word or 4-word race review, can I transfer some of these points to my undercut?
Technicality, if it was 3 words, yes. With 4 words, disqualification.
No, so strict.
So no point.
Okay.
But yeah, well done. I think a good race review in words, I'll say, because it's not 3 words, it's 4 words, but it is, again, it's very deep, it's meaningful. It made me think about life, about everything, what's happening. True meaning of life. Very deep, very good, very nicely done.
Yeah.
Very nicely put.
And well, given the short amount of time, good preparation. Just 1 word extra, but otherwise all good.
Pooja, coming to you, what is your 3-word race review?
So my 3-word race review is, what a surprise. Now you can take it in 2 ways. So Max wins both the sprint and the race. What a surprise! Not really. McLaren gets sprint and race podiums. What a surprise! Not really. But Tsunoda takes fastest lap. What a surprise! Leclerc and Hamilton get disqualified. What a surprise! All of the front and what a surprise! Yeah, basically. And obviously my favorite surprise that Carlos inherited P3 because of the disqualification. So that was a good surprise. So that's my 3-word race review.
So Shashi went
Damn
2
good.
levels deep. You went 7 levels deep. So well done. Fabulous.
I prepared this morning. I took my time and prepared.
How you all say prepare, and I feel that I've come prepared, but I have the shittiest 3-word race, right?
Tell you.
Prepared. No, I didn't prepare. Are? Well done, Pooja. That was also spectacular. Yeah. Now you don't even have to make that thing that can you that request of 1 extra point. You
Not
can
us.
put on the undercut
I
board,
have
leaderboard.
of points
Too many points to spare.
from my whatever, the post-summer break, all of that. I have all the points.
Yeah, we'll have a prize distribution ceremony after this season is done.
I'm already like Max. I won the championship. I'm just in undercut.
Like you said before Pooja, the
Yeah,
undercut now
Pooja.
is the fight for second.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
already
it
the
is the
champ.
fine. And that's why I introduced as the undercut queen, because I don't think there's any way back for anyone. Like, it's just impossible to
I'll
have
try to
that
make
level
some
of instinct
random-
and insight into what's going to happen.
I'll try to make some random ones for Mexico. So that
Just for fun. Like, I don't want the points anymore. I'll figure something out.
That's
Shit, I
for
No,
don't
but I'm
know.
sure that your random ones are also going to come true, Pooja.
yeah, my random ones.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. Cool. To just quickly sign off from this segment, very basic 3-word race review. Unlike this very thought through and multi-layered 3 race review, is my race review is a missed opportunity. So I think I've kind of spoken about this, that this was a great opportunity, especially for Lewis to get ahead of Max, win a race, which would coming to what. Sashu said that there's a possibility for you to beat Max. So when you get the chance, you have to really do it. It helps your own confidence. It helps the team in terms of bringing their confidence up, and it also shows Red Bull that we're coming, and there's a lot more to think about than just see how far Max is going to go ahead of the field. And there was a point where I still feel that was testament to where things were at that point. And also it was a bit too casual and cocky when Max was asking for an extra pit stop, saying that let's just do it, what's that pit stop practice, all that. It got damn annoying at that point. So I'm happy it's come to this, but yeah, it was a missed opportunity for the Mercs for sure. So that's my 3-word race review, which is it's not multi-layered, it's single layered, but yeah.
It's quite an apt 3-word race review, even though it's not multi-layered.
I delve only in facts.
What else do? The simple multiple things I can do.
Cool. Coming to our next segment, the smooth operator segment. This has to be started with Pooja, because Pooja is the OG smooth operator. Pooja, who was your smooth operator for the race?
This time I think it's pretty obvious. I'm sure out of both of you, one of you would have picked this, but Lightning Lando I picked.
Lightning Lando.
Yeah.
I haven't picked Lando, so it's not me.
Neither have I.
Doing well throughout sprint and the race. So Shashu picked Lando.
No,
he says no.
Thanks, guys.
I actually was going to.
What a surprise!
I was going to go. I don't think anybody deserves to be smooth operator. It was all a very scrappy.
See, Sashi, the unbiased guy is saying that no one deserves only being
it wasn't a very smooth operation from anybody, but even I would have picked Lando, but just to to be a little different, I have picked my guy Yuki Tsunoda
Logi.
for being the smooth operator.
Oh,
No, Yuki,
nice.
Yuki
Yeah, no,
for
I
being the
got it. I
smooth
got
operator
Yuki.
because he drove a like quite a decent race, stayed out of trouble, and obviously the cherry on the cake was the fastest lap that he got from his teammate Danny Rick. So my smooth
I
operator
got
went to
I
Yuki.
Nice. I mean, I got super excited when they showed that graphic because the race had finished and this guy was just on his final tour and he was going for the fastest lap. I got super excited. I said, I'm so happy this is happening and I hope this happens. Only those bloody commentators like, is he gone off? Is he gone off? All of them
Hoping
just
for that.
want. Yeah, most of them just want. I think they're not even like fully biased towards Max. They're fully biased towards all the British teams and drivers. That's
Yeah, I
be
think it's
all and
quite
end all.
evident that they're all
It's
for
very
most of
evident.
them are
It's
for
very
the
evident.
British
Yeah.
driver. British
That
drivers,
that
British
Palmer
cars.
though is like, I think in the morning he just has a frame of Lewis Hamilton that he sees and he just touches
Yeah, he does
the
argue
frame
on
and
that.
shows his. Yeah, he's like, all of them are super biased, which is okay.
Yeah, it is
It is
British
what it
bias.
is. I think no one is non-biased.
Yeah.
We are biased except for you.
At least us
You
two
should
is
you should be the voice.
Yeah.
Like how you're like the Purple Sectors podcast. He should be the voice of
Special
F1
shout out
itself.
to the unbiased person.
The truly unbiased person.
Yeah.
Truly
Truly.
unbiased.
Hmm.
Cool. So my I think Yuki was a close was a good pick. I was also close to going with that. But even though the guy got disqualified, and this is totally against my ethos and what I believe, my belief system, I have gone for Lewis Hamilton because he was absolutely superb in the race. He was absolute perfection. He was also calling on strategy in terms of, I don't think this is right, but Bono and these guys on the pit wall just didn't take what he was saying into consideration. If they had, even though in hindsight, when you look back, yeah, the penalty would have probably stayed and disqualification would have happened. But for what he brought to the race and how he drove the race and his move on Lando, again, something I was telling Shashu is, he is, other than when he had that little bit of tiff with Max in 2021, he's, I think, one of the cleanest overtakers and a guy, who in Fernando Alonso's roles, you can race with these guys because he doesn't do any stupid moves. He bides his time. He's not overtly aggressive to the point of, putting the car in a position where it's going to result in a crash. So his
But-
move on Lando also with the cutback on turn one was great. So this is the maximum you will see me ever praise Lewis Hamilton, but I had to do it.
That's
It
what
was.
Nicole-
I also want to be perceived
think
as a 1% unbiased fan.
Unbiased. I think Lewis was second. I think a close second for me after Yuki.
that was this race. No, yeah.
Yeah.
Flash into
Yes.
Russell the previous race.
That was really
Yeah,
poor.
but
That
that's
I'm
what
already.
I was. That's what I was telling Kuno also.
This-
That it's so unfortunate that the only time that he probably made a mistake by overtaking somebody was with his own teammate. The last
Yeah,
race.
he's done that with his own teammate. Only makes these mistakes. Same thing happened with Rosberg, and now it happened with Russell.
So something-
But yeah, like Pooja, you said that this is a fleeting moment for me
No,
that
I
I
know.
have sung so many praises of this guy. I have a full catalog and I've got a separate book of why Lewis Hamilton, why I don't like the guy. We will talk about it and I'll write a
Okay,
poem and a thesis. Thesis also will come out soon.
It's fine. And give credit where credit is due.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Undercut Queen. Now we have to just tabulate the points from last season.
Yeah, I don't even
And,
know the point. Come on. Tell.
Yeah, no. I know you don't want to know.
I want to know. But this very
No, we
competitive.
tabulate the points from last week's last race post. Yeah, for this race prediction. What am I saying? So the undercut points. Let's tabulate from our last attempts at this and look at what we are seeing as possibilities for this weekend, which is the Mexican Grand Prix. Yeah, Poojam. So
So
how badly are you beating us? Yeah.
last race I said one Ferrari on the podium. If two, then I get double points. Now how you want to do this, you decide. Because there was one Ferrari on the podium in the
One
sprint
on
and
one.
one on the podium in the race. So I will leave that to you. I will
Take
take
two,
whatever
Pujams.
point.
Might as well just, yeah, take two. It's okay. If you want to get beaten, we might as well
Then,
get beaten so bad that it looks good saying, oh, Pujams actually thrashed. Take
then I said
take two
Logie
points.
Bear top 10 finish in front
Yeah,
of the
how?
Yeah, the one time that I didn't say
How?
Logie and he came top 10.
Crazy, Pujam. This was like a master
both the
stroke.
yeah, which came to
That's
then
insane.
obviously McLaren overtook Aston in constructors. So that happened. That was the third point. Technically fourth point. The other wacky one that I made didn't come true, that's all. So Danny Rick will finish ahead of Tsunoda and Perez. I said that didn't. So four. Only
So
four.
four. Just the 4 points, Pooja.
4 points. My God.
That was
I had assumed that we'll come back to my final prediction. I mean my prediction from last race, but I'd assumed that I had got a point. But once I look at tabulate, it'll be a sunna. So cool. And what are your Sashi? What was your?
No,
Should we just do Pooja's?
I had-
No, we'll do yours. Yeah, first. Yeah,
finish those.
let's finish. Yeah.
No, I had two predictions. So I said the same driver is going to win the sprint and the actual Grand Prix, which came true, Max.
Oh.
So I get.
He made it
get one for that.
very cool.
Yeah, I get one for that. But then I almost got the other one where I said both the Astons are going to finish in the points. So Stroll did finish in the points, but unfortunately for me, Alonso retired.
That was also a smart prediction. Your one driver, the same driver is going to win sprint, and that was also very smart of you. Same driver. He said same driver.
I said same driver. I didn't say
Yeah,
Max. I just said same driver.
But
so you get a point.
I get one at least.
Not a surprise, but anyways.
you get a point. That's not too bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming to mine, mine was shocking. No McLaren on the podium, fail. Perez out of the top 5. This though made me cry. Like fail again. I mean, he was out of the top. Like,
yeah, but he.
Yeah, he came 4th in a race where he didn't do shit. Like it was just no. It was I was very upset by this. Not that I didn't get my point. This was usually a short thing. And I said Haas in the points. Now I'm getting pissed off with this Gunther also. Like, I don't think they're not even attempting, man. It's like they're just cool with being the team on Drive to Survive where everyone liked them. I don't know if they just want any kind of racing perfection. Racing excellence is just not something that they even care for anymore. Because everyone is trying hard to get up, try new things, looking at the performance saying we need to really get this sorted. But these guys seem very like thanda. They don't really care.
And Haas actually got the biggest upgrade this race because it was their home Grand Prix and there was absolutely no change in their performance.
Yeah, pathetic. I got upset by 2 things. No points, 0 points for me.
But it came
I don't like it.
Was taken away, no?
Yeah, I mean it was. Yeah, I had 1 point taken away for that.
The Perez thing, you thought you got a point until 3 hours later the disqualification was announced, no? Shit.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was not good. Yeah. How to recover from here?
Now you guys need to make at least 5 predictions, I think. I'll start making 1. You guys make 5. Maybe y'all will catch.
No, you make how. That's what you. Pooja, this is for our first attempt at this thing. From next season, we'll figure out. Till then, you want to destroy. What is that? It'll be as I'll print that whole leaderboard and put it like I can do better types.
This race.
So what? Yeah, what are your predictions for Mexico, Pujams?
I wrote. So, I don't know if I should say or not. Anyway, I wrote Hamilton will finish ahead of Russell in the race. I'm not mentioning which podium, which place, nothing. Then, all 2 out of 3 Spanish speakers will definitely finish in the top 5. But definitely.
Who are the Spanish speakers?
Alonso, Checo, Science.
and colors.
Yeah.
What about if there are no third language types? Spain.
No third language English. First language. First language Spanish speakers. Definitely
Huh.
two will finish in the top 5, but all three will finish in the top 10.
Okay.
These are my two. I don't want to say
Oh,
these two.
strong. I foresee 2 points again. Very good. Very smart
Let's see.
predictions.
We'll see.
Sashi, what are your predictions? What are your undercut predictions?
So even I have two predictions. I have gone for two marks in the top 4. I'm not going to say
Okay.
which one
What
finishes
order?
ahead of the other. Second one is the pole sitter is not going to be the winner of the Grand Prix in Brazil. That's my second prediction.
In Mexico.
Mexico.
Sorry, in Mexico.
Hmm. Good prediction, that is. I think you've
Those are
looked at the numbers and the
those are my
stats.
two predictions.
He's gone in depth into the stats of that Mexican Grand Prix. Rarely does anyone win from pole. Yeah. They get outdragged in the first track, the first corner. Cool. So yeah, I think those are strong predictions, Ashu. I foresee you going well ahead of me.
At least
What do you do?
1 point.
Yeah, minimum. I've made 4 predictions. I've said, okay, I'll use Pooja's strategy. Say, this is the way to go about it. But I've made all like nothing, standard. I've made really, in my mind at least, out there predictions to make it, sound interesting. First is Albon in the points. I think fast track, a lot of straights, possibility, decent possibility to make it in
Yeah,
the
that's a
points.
good prediction. Yes.
I've got Lance making it to Q2. I think with the updates, I think they figured out that what can be done with the car. That's why they put it into. They made that. I think they had a few changes and then they started in the pit lane because they had to optimize that. So I think they figured out what those changes do. I have done one completely from the heart. Perez outside top 5. That is, I think, I'm ready to lose
That's
one
going to be a
point on that
standard
prediction.
prediction, I think, for
Yeah, I have to put it out in the
all the
world. Yeah,
races
every
going
time.
forward.
Yeah. I
An
mean,
improvement from Perez DNF, it's out of the top.
yeah, it's out of the top 5, which is probable, and I think it's not an outlandish prediction at all. I think it should happen. So maybe that. And my fourth prediction is Max gets booed. That is my fourth prediction. Right. Oh, 1 point I'll get.
You'll get for that. Yeah.
If that follows that Perez's father boos, then I get extra 1 point.
Oh,
So-
And then you get 10 points, man. If Perez's father comes on the
Bonus.
camera and boos Max.
yeah, bonus.
Even in America, because I think obviously it's close to Mexico, they were booing Max. So
A lot of
It
Lewis
shows,
fans,
yeah.
a lot of Checo fans. But I'm excited. I'm looking forward to Mexico. It's going to be at a much better time, so you can actually see it at a reasonable time. And
and it's
B,
not a
I
sprint,
think
and it's not a
it's
sprint
not a
Grand
sprint.
Prix also.
Yeah, I don't
which
like
is
sprints
just,
at all.
which is just so
It's
much
a-
better for me.
It's
I
a
just
shit
cannot.
weekend. I think that
It's
Saturday
just
is
so very
wasted.
confusing for me.
Yeah, it's wasted that Saturday. And also there is going to be a lot of tension in the air, and it's all to do with Red Bull. It's between Marco and Christian. It's between It's between Marco and Christian. It's between Perez and Max. Perez and Marco. So it's like a confusing scenario. I think again, this could be an opportunity that any of the other teams should make use of. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Red Bull. Our external factors rather than the car, just the external factors in Mexico. There's going to be a lot of stuff brewing. So yeah, I think I'm excited for that. It should be a
What time was the
fun
race
this
now
thing.
this time? Again, late night.
I think it's slightly earlier. So 12:30 was the American Grand Prix. I think this should be earlier. Could be
I think
mistaken.
it's
It should be around the same
I
time.
think it's around the same
Maybe
time. I
later?
think. No, I think it's around the same time. The race.
I don't know. It's still gonna be late in the night, though. I'd assume that it will not be that late, but should be a good race. Not a very good track, to be honest. Lot of straights and slow corners, but because of the thinness of the air, this kind of affects the engines, and also the DRS is not at all strong here because again the air is so thin, so it doesn't really add that much. But yeah, we can only hope. Cool. I think that just about wraps up. This episode. We've done a record 1 hour. This thing now this time around, so we keep getting longer. This time we didn't have enough material, and this is what we've come up with. So good job, guys.
What a surprise again. 1 hour.
Let's end on that note. What a
What?
surprise. You guys.